Ignace corner, beyond bent. Janssen! And Blackburn Rovers are
Maybe it is because the fans are.
As far as Stewart, just outside the penalty area, flips it central. For David John! David John equalises! It just had to be! Dax scores really close, glance towards goal! And Rovers have taken the lead! Charlie Mulgrew has scored his 14th of the season. It may well be the goal that sends Rovers back into the Championship.
Hello. We got there at the end. How is everybody doing on this fine but drizzly Saturday afternoon? We're back with Sofa Chat. Me, Joe and Luke. We're here. How you doing, boys?
Yeah, not so bad. Not so bad at all.
We good?
Yeah, it's been one of them weeks this week. I've been back at the gym now, started back at the gym, so I was walking like Paula Radcliffe pre-poo for a couple of days. And then I had another stinker as well. I went up to the toilet at Amy's granddad's and had a bit of an incident with a porcelain. Dropped my phone in the golden soup. So that wasn't good. Wrist deep in there. So yeah, been a bit of a weird week, but we're there. It's Saturday. Let's forget about it.
Oh, I love that. And hello to everyone in the comments. Good to have you along and nice to see all the familiar faces and some new ones in there as well. As I say, this is a new show that we've got going this season, Sofa Chat. So thank you for joining us. We've got the usual nonsense. And we'll obviously preview the game as we get a bit closer to it as well. But first things first, just a reminder, we are sponsored by Blue Rose Capital and 6yardsout.com. Thank you to our very kind sponsors. And of course, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please hit that subscribe button. Please give this video a big like for us. And please turn on all notifications using that bell icon. So the first thing that we've got today, Luke and Joe, is on the road again. So this is on the it's good, isn't it? On the road again. Well, this is the one where last time we did it, obviously the first show we didn't have any away games that we could actually feature, but we've had two, like Millwall and Forest.
Some successful trips.
Yeah, definitely some successful trips. So what we're looking for in this is just for like anecdotes, how it was to be back at the game. But I'm actually going to go to Dan first, silent Dan over there, because we weren't at Millwall, but Dan was. So that was obviously the first away game of the season, Dan, so how was it? How were the fans? What was it like being back in an away ground? How was it from your perspective?
It was strange more than anything. I felt a bit nervous almost arriving at ground, but we all saw the performance. It weren't any good. And on the day I was gutted that I'd waited 18 months to go an away game and we play like that. But on reflection, good point. And then obviously Forest midweek. Can't complain at 4 points from 2 away games.
Your home game, really, Ryan?
Yeah, so I was at Forest on Wednesday and it was great to be back. I took a few pictures and just kind of reminded myself what it was like to be in an away game. And it was just good to hear the fans in great voice. I think, 800 fans? I think there were 800, 900. And they were brilliant from start to finish, chanting Yellow, chanting Diaz. I have not missed away ground food, which we'll come on to a little bit later in that section. But yeah, less said about that one. But yeah, it was just really, really good. And really good to see the fans in that fine voice. You're going to Borough, aren't you? So we'll be looking to you for the next away game. When are you doing your first one, do you think, your first away game?
Barnsley, come to Barnsley.
Can't do Barnsley.
Barnsley.
When's Blackpool?
Blackpool start of October.
Do Derby as well.
Start
I think
October.
Blackpool could be the big Rovers chat away day, to be honest. I think there'll be a few of us there, won't there? So.
David, but hey, I saw David Park at the game and saw Rick Trowbridge as well and Dom Whiting. Good to see you all at the game. But Dave, Forest was great, but can still taste the yellow flare that was set off. I didn't notice that until I smelt the smoke, Dave, because it was all behind me going off. I think you set it off, didn't you, Dan? Was it you?
Don't say, Jesus, you're getting arrested. Whoa. Cut the stream.
But it was great to see everyone. We got a few pictures, haven't we, just from the games that we've been to over the last kind of couple of weeks or so. This is what it's all about: seeing fans, meeting up, and all of that. So we'll just share a few that we've taken and a few videos and things. Oh God! Yes. So that video at the end is Luke getting me with an absolute. I only went for a wee, and look what happened. Got me like a mong. But one thing that did happen at Millwall away, and for those Chilean fans that we've got to do our little feature on the big man, Mr. Brio. So I just want to ask you two, that goal that Brio scored, for me, was like a proper striker's goal, wasn't it? So the ball was put in, and that header he put into the corner was just fantastic. So do we need to see more goals like that from Brio? He's had a couple of good ones for Rovers, but, like a proper striker's goal, it just felt like a good one, that equaliser.
He scored a goal just like that in pre-season last year at Blackpool. Managed to catch a stream of that. It was awful quality, but he scored a header pretty identical to that, just it was from open play rather than a set piece. I remember seeing that goal and thinking, this is the year. That's a striker's finish. And it probably wasn't the year still, really. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want us all to get ahead of ourselves and say, oh, here we go. Because he does flash hot and flash cold. And that's always been his problem. I think he probably, we've got West Brom, we've got Middlesbrough. He needs one more in these next two games. If he can get a goal every 2 or 3 games, that's good. Obviously, didn't score in the last one. If he doesn't score again today, which can be forgiven, they're a good side, probably needs a goal next time out. He just needs some consistent goals. Yeah. And if he scores once in every 2 or 3 games, he'll get to 15 for the season. And I think that would be a good achievement for him.
Yeah, confidence breeds consistency, doesn't it? And we haven't seen the consistency from him. And whether that's a confidence thing, who knows? So maybe this is the season, given that he's got some confidence now. He's scoring these goals and he's scoring them a little bit more regularly. Like you said, that header is something that we've just not seen from him at all before. Last season, even we were getting balls in the box and no one there, and Arna's having to pull out wide and cut inside and getting the ball from different positions. If we can score goals like that and we can get goals from different areas of the pitch, he's got a chance.
And even the Bolton pre-season game as well, just to anticipate Gallagher's header coming off the post, he got ahead of the defender, he's in the right place at the right time. So
strikers,
that's it,
really.
So this is what we want to see from Brio. I just thought it was a really great goal. It was good to just see him knock a header into the corner just like that. Just one thing on Brio, we've got the Chile flag today. I think it's following me and Luke into the Blackburn end, so do look out for that on the coverage, or look out for it in the ground if you're there. We'll try and get the Diaz flag on good display somewhere. Yeah. But one other thing that did happen at Nottingham Forest, we obviously did Where's Wardy, which we'll run just in a moment. But he was at Forest v Rovers.
We know where he was. And
we know where
to him.
Yeah.
I mean, well,
he's bad, isn't he? He's so bad.
He is, but I've never said Gavin Ward's name fewer times in a game that he's been refereeing for us than on Wednesday.
Joe Harvey would
at the lower end. He was at the lower end of the Gavin Ward scale, wasn't he?
Oh, to see him just in person. I mean, he got in the way of the ball twice. Yeah. He was just pernickety, stopping the game for stupid reasons, taking far too long to make some decisions, and just in general, it was just Gavin Ward all over. Yeah. But we'll finish with the Where's Wardy little sting here, won't we? Because we love this video. We need to actually check where Wardy is today because
Can
we're
you
so.
imagine he's doing us again?
I know. We're so bloody excited that Wardy was at Forest. We've not actually searched where he is today. So do look in the comments for us and tell us where Wardy is. But no, we're going to move on to our next thing, which is question of the week. Dan's. So this is my big question, and I'm cheating a little bit with this one because I actually got 2 questions for both of you.
Right.
So
You're run this thing again.
So we've got 2 questions. So I've just been obviously thinking about things over the last couple of weeks, and what we've seen from Rovers, particularly with the Millwall and the Forest game, is us show real fight, real determination, and both of those for me have been epitomised by Ayala and Lenihan at the back. So I've got 2 questions. So the first one focuses on Daniel Ayala. So either one of you answer first. How crucial is it for Rovers this season that we get more than 30 games out of Daniel Ayala?
I can chip in at this point. Yeah, it is crucial because Rovers fans in general, we've all been guilty of this at some point since last season. Even have just been quick to hammer him, really, write him off. You know, he's not the player he always has been. All sorts of comments. You know, sick note. We didn't get enough games out of him. It's as simple as that. But that said, there's a reason Tony Mowbray brought him to Rovers. He is an experienced Championship defender. He's played at a higher level than the Championship. He's a quality centre half. He's just not fit enough. If we can get 30 games out of Ayala, like you say, and he can form some kind of partnership with Lenny and have some sort of consistency there in the back 4, back 5 even. We've got a real player, and we've got a real solid back line. Then it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it's easy to write off and easy to say, yeah, let's go and spend money or bring in some young loan signing. You've got a real experienced defender in there. You've got him fit. You've got to play him.
Rovers fans, let us know what you think in the comments about Daniel Ayala. Sorry, Joe.
No, you're all right. I mean, we've had a gap, haven't we? We had goal-scoring defenders kind of a little bit ago. And Charlie Mulgrew and Derek Williams would always get 3 a year, and Lenihan's kind of come off the boil a little bit. But our last 3 goals come from set pieces. Our last 3 goals have been headers.
He's a big boy as
we
well.
scored 5 goals from set pieces in the entirety of last season, and this year we've already got 3, 4 if you count the penalty for Brereton. So we're starting to score goals from all around the pitch, which we need. Because as good as Joe Rothwell is, he's not going to get you 10 goals in a season. He's going to get 4 or 5. And if every player on the pitch can get 3 or 4, we do fill that gap. Rumours of other players coming in might fill some of those goals too. But we need goals from our defenders. And if, Ayala and Lenihan are going to keep banging them in, that's great. But, the key thing for me is the threat that we've now got at set pieces. Yeah. Because if I'm a West Brom defender, I've got Lenihan, who wins a lot of headers for only being just about 6 foot. I've got Gallagher, who is massive. He doesn't win every header, but he's big. He's a big lad to mark. Brereton's a big lad to mark. Ayala's a big lad to mark. I've always got Rothwell offering the short option. Dolan the same. So there's a lot to think about when you defend a Rovers set piece now. Whereas last season and the season before, we've been really guilty of just hitting in the box and hoping and scoring maybe 1, 2 a year from corners. And especially in those away games, those tight games, games against your Millwalls and games today where West Brom will knock it long and chase the ball. Set piece goals are going to be the goals that get us over the line and replace Adam Armstrong. So it's good to see.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's no coincidence the start to the season that we've had and that fight and determination that we've seen. If you look at teams that have been promoted out of this division before, they usually have a settled back 4. They've usually got a really solid centre-back pairing. So no coincidence that Ayala.
It's so weird, though. We sat here on this sofa before the Swansea game, the whole season ahead of us, no idea what was going to happen. And we sit here now, 4 games later, if you include the cup match, and it's so weird. I sit here, I'm relaxed, I'm not nervous, I'm nothing to do with the show, more about the game. It doesn't matter today. We've got 7 points out of 9. Yeah. If we lose to top of the table West Brom, who I think will probably be there come the end of the season, it's just such a different feeling. And I think the players and the manager have got to take the credit for that.
Definitely. Yeah, and that feeling, if they can embrace that feeling as well and go into this game with no fear and just think pressure's off, let's go and enjoy ourselves. We've been playing well. We've been picking up points. Anything can happen in a game like this.
Well, you pick up wins away at Nottingham Forest, you can afford to play some football at home to West Brom and see what happens. Whereas if you go to Forest and lose and you don't get the late equaliser at Millwall, today almost feels like a 6-point match where we're already fighting to stay up. So those small changes and those set pieces completely revitalised our chances this year.
Definitely. Just going to look in the comments before we do the second question. So Gareth, Daniel Ayala equals Ledley King. Yeah, the injury record is obviously similar, but Gareth goes on to say need to manage him correctly. He's been brilliant so far. Dizzy, wrap him in cotton wool and give him December and January off. I think Middlesbrough fans in particular warned us about this kind of winter injury that he does get. So I can see your logic in that one. Optimise. I was never in doubt over Ayala's ability. I never understood why Rovers fan did, just because he was injured a lot. And then Dave feels like the confidence Dara and Ayala have flows through the team. Carter great, Wharton soon. Yeah, really fair point.
I do think it's fair for us to mention Hayden Carter just while we talk about the games that we've missed since the last show. I was chatting to Jacob and Andy Watson in the week, and I remember Darrell Lenihan when he was Hayden Carter's age. And I would say that Hayden already is further ahead than where Darrell was at that age. And if you think in 5 years' time, Carter will be, 25, 26, 27 years old, he will be the next Darrell Lenihan. He will play alongside Darrell Lenihan for years to come because he is already better than Lenihan was at that age. It's really impressive.
I was just drawn to John's comment here. Hello from Brisbane, just watching Barnsley v QPR. And thank you for the people in the comments that pointed out that Wardy is doing the Barnsley QPR game right now. So that is where Wardy is.
What's he doing?
And yeah, QPR, I think are a bit of a dark horse, John, this season. And Barnsley, obviously, they haven't got Ishmael this season, but are they going to, obviously play a different way? But good to see that the quality of that game's good. So my second question then, this is more focusing on Darrell Lenihan, and I did tweet this yesterday, I think it was. So Rich Sharp is reporting that Rovers are finding it really difficult to tie down some of the first teamers onto long-term contracts. And the 4 names that were mentioned were Lenihan, Joe Rothwell, Ryan Nyambe, and Ben Brereton, who are all out of contract next year. With our finances tight, we might have to accept that we're going to lose 1 or 2 of them. And that article also mentioned that we were willing to break our wage structure for Adam Armstrong to try and keep him at the club. So for me, if it's out of those 4 people, I would actually be breaking the wage structure to keep Darrell Lenihan because I think he's that important to our side. When you consider the injury record of Ayala, when you consider how light we are at the back and some of the development that Carter and Wharton might still need to do, for me, as club captain, break the wage structure for him, even if it means we might end up losing Nyambe and Rothwell, and try and keep Brio if we can. Do you agree with me that Lenihan, out of those 4, is the one that you'd be keeping?
Well, I think Dara and Ben, out of the 4, are going to be the easiest to keep. I think you underestimate the power of connections and relationships. Ben Brereton and Bradley Dack and John Buckley fishing every day after training, and Bradley Dack will keep Ben Brereton at this club for me. Yeah. Unless Ben scores 30 goals this season, he's not going to have 15 offers. So, I think I can see him signing at least a 1 year, if not a 2-year deal. Dara, I think the bus has already left the station for Dara on a Premier League move. He will go down as a very solid Championship defender. I can't see a club going up and taking him at 28 years old. It's probably just a bit late for him. So again, I think he's easier to tie down. The issue comes in Joe Rothwell, who's already got Premier League interest, and rightly so. He's a talent. And Ryan Nyambe, who's young enough to have the ceiling to push on. Where do you sit on this?
Very similar to you. I'm in a position where I think we need to keep Dara. He's a senior player now at this club. He's been at the club a long while. He knows the club inside out. Very much the stability I think that we get in this squad. It's important that we keep him. But then again, Brio's another one. We've got to keep hold of Brio. I think because of I think he brings morale with him, camaraderie. He's that sort of jovial. Everyone loves him. Every past player that spoke about him, the current squad, Tony Mowbray speaks so highly of him. I just think with the summer he's had as well, everything that's coming off the back of him financially, in terms of the Pepsi adverts, etc. I think that Bruno's a big asset to this football club now, and if we're going to break wage structures, there's 2 players there that are very important to keep hold of.
There is one contract you've missed, of course, which is the big one. It's Tony Mowbray, who is also out of contract in the summer, and how much of an effect does that have on those negotiations? If I'm, let's say Joe Rothwell, I'm playing every week at the minute. Mowbray thinks highly of me, and he's saying he wants to keep me around. But he goes in the summer. Somebody else comes in who says, "No, I want Travis and I want Travanport in my midfield. You're too fancy. You haven't got enough end product." Does that lack of consistency in the managerial position affect those contract negotiations?
I'm actually really worried about that, because it just feels like Mowbray is going to go at the end of the season. I don't know why. It's just his demeanour and other stuff about him at the moment. It just feels like he's going to go.
Well,
and
the club are unlikely to offer him a deal at this stage. Come the end of the season, if we've done okay, they might offer him a deal and people might roll their eyes. But if they offered him a deal now, it wouldn't go down well. So we're not going to have that certainty until at least May.
And that would be devastating, wouldn't it? If we lost Mowbray and those 4 players as well, what state are we in at that point? It's not good, is it? So that does bother me. And the points you make about Lenihan are really, really valid ones, at 28 years old. I think it's the teams going up that might expect to get relegated back.
Maybe.
Because he's tried and tested at championship level and they can offer him the cash. It's that type of club I worry about.
Yeah, I think it's just the age thing for Darragh. It's not ability. I think he's definitely got the ability to play in a top 6 side, a bottom 3 side in the Premier League. The issue for him is age. I think when he didn't go with Sheffield United when he was 25, 26, I think that was when the bus left the station for me.
Cool. Right. So it's time for my favourite sting of this show. It's time for a bit of... What you got for us this week then?
Well, there was one midweek. There had been a lot of penalties actually to look at over the last 2 game weeks in the Championship. I think we've managed to find 2. There was one at Preston and one at QPR Borough more recently. So this is the one. It's a cute spot from the referee. Sometimes, well, more often than not, you'd see these not given. There's definitely an arm on Dale Fry. So I think it's right to give the penalty. Some might call it soft. But I think as an attacker, you're hoping to get that penalty, even though some people will hammer in the comments for this. Dale Fry is a centre half. Nice to put away from Uche Ikpeazu, and for reap the rewards.
So we're saying that one was a pen? Was it a pen for you?
Pen for me. It's a pen for me.
I haven't seen it, and obviously we haven't got the video back. The one thing I'll say is that when you guys were looking at it before, I could see from over there, you were having to look at that a few times to find what you were looking for. So it sounds like one of them that usually isn't given. Yeah. So consistency is what you want to see. If that's given, I want to see that referee giving those every week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm just going to do a big shout out to Flavio from Brazil. Thanks for joining us, Flavio. Really appreciate your support over in Brazil. There we go. Thank you. Thank you for the support. So that was an easy Penrith because, as you say, only 2 penalties in 2 game weeks. So quite low. So we'll move on to another favourite of ours, which is...
Chatting about food and drinks on the Rovers Chat Sofa Chat show. Fuck it.
Oh, Joe.
I gave it a go and then I tried about 5 times and I just gave up.
Chatting about food and drink on the Rovers Chat Sofa Chat show, so you don't have to chat about food and drink not on the Rovers Chat Sofa Chat.
I go chatting about food and drink on the Rovers Chat Chauffeur. Chauffeur.
And that's Joe today. Joe's driving us to the game.
I am. Yeah, I'm the chauffeur chef.
So first we're going to chat sausage, aren't we?
Didn't know you were going to describe it that way. I mean,
hello.
Whoa.
The tale of good and bad sausage as well.
We're talking sausage and we're talking tails.
Right.
You've had some good sausage. We can keep going with this, can't we?
Yeah. Everybody knows that the hot dogs at Ewood have seen a big decline.
What part of the hot dog is it? Well, particularly the sausage.
It's particularly the dog.
The dog.
And the bun was twice the size.
So we're dogging now.
We are dogging. The bun was twice the size of the dog, whereas we've now gone back. I went back on Monday for the 23s, and the proper real rollover proper dog.
Yeah, a girthy sausage.
A girthy one was back. So if anybody fancies a hot dog today, we should be back to normal. They should be worth the price again. And it was pretty good. It was a good sausage.
Well, I had bad sausage
Yeah,
at Forest away.
sausage away on a Wednesday night.
Well, that's it. My Wednesday night sausage was not good. And if some of you were at the Forest game and you had a hot dog, then you can probably testify this. It was £4.20, £4.50 or something like that for just like this long bratwursty type.
Sausage.
It was a long sausage, but the price was just not good. No, it was not worth it. So the tale of good and bad sausage this week. So that's enough sausage chat. The other thing we're going to do it live, aren't we? So this is live food. So what is this and where's it from?
It's the famous Finch Bakery, as many people will know in the comments if you're local. Great Hallwood's on the map for this bakery. They're very good. They brought a book out, actually, the Finch twins. And this is a Kinderella cookie pie.
I'll have to just show that to the camera. Kinderella cookie pie. So I'm going to try this live on the show.
So it's Kinder and Nutella.
Yeah, Kinder and Nutella in that.
I need a bloody fork for this.
Get your gob around
A
that.
side of diabetes.
Oh my god. Oh, good. You two are going to have to talk.
Give us fingers out of 10 on that.
10.
Oh.
Bang on.
Wow.
Absolutely bang on. So where Finch
Bakery, yeah.
Finch Bakery.
Silent Dan's been wanting to try that for quite some time now.
What did Dan have?
Triple chopped brownie was, I think.
And if Finch Bakery want a paid sponsorship with the channel, they can get in touch. We'd be more than happy to oblige. We'll try something every week.
What we got here? Hauser. Had Joe more of a pie man?
No, God, no. I am from Wigan, but I'm not a pie man.
That's why he's not a pie man.
No.
He's from Wigan.
No.
And then Ellis. Chips have gone downhill. Used to be class at Ewood Park.
Oh, I love the new chips. Skin on. Love it.
Do you
Love
know
the new
what?
fries.
I remember, right, I don't know how many of you guys in the comments, and Ryan probably is old enough to remember this. I remember when Ewell Park was one of the only grounds that you could get chips at. You go on an away day, and a lot of the boys wouldn't do chips.
Yeah.
And that wound me up, because chips were a big part of my Rovers.
Yeah, I do remember that, actually.
I quite like the new chips. I like the tray. I don't know if they're still doing the loaded ones. They were all right for a bit with the stuff on, but.
And Kevin pointing out that he would not eat this cake because it's got Nutella. You're looking confused. What are you confused about?
The internet's dropped.
Can you still hear us, everyone? If you can.
It's just the camera.
Yeah, the internet's gone. The connection is unstable.
Everyone can hear us still. I think everyone can hear
Shall we
us.
put an overlay on? Let us know if you can hear us.
Well, we're going to carry on anyway. I'm going to presume people can hear us, so we'll keep carrying on. We're on to... we're going to stop chatting nonsense because...
Guys, there's a game on!
There we go. David. Yeah, yes, I can hear you. There we go. Everyone can hear us. Don't panic, boys. It's all fine.
Okay.
It's all fine.
We've got an internet issue, so if you can't see us properly but you can hear us, then we'll stick an overlay on as we talk for a little bit. Should be okay.
So there is a game on. Let's stop chatting about sausage and Nutella and cakes and whatever. There's a lot to cover for me with this game, actually. So I've got a little list of things. So let's just talk about our start to the season first and foremost. So I'll start with you, Luke. 3 games in. What have you noticed about Rovers this season compared to last season, maybe?
We're not panicking when we can see goals. I think in the past, particularly last season, we'd concede a goal and that was it. I mean, on streams, we'd done watch-alongs, we sat there, we conceded a goal and we knew game were gone. And it's a very different Rovers side now. We're looking to. It's not this possession-based football. It was enjoyable to watch in places last year, but we weren't winning games at certain points in the season with it. We always look to be a side that counter-attacks, wins games on the break, scores goals on the break, have players that can do that in Brio and Galley doing all the running. I mean, let's shout out to Gallagher.
Yeah.
That man, he's like Scott Parker in his heyday. The guy can run. He's an N'Golo Kante on the wing. He's unbelievable. He's a stallion. But yeah, fair play because he's a
Well,
workhorse.
and once you add the end product of a Bradley Dack to that team, you've got a great structure there. The issue comes when you play like Morecambe and they give you the ball, and we're fanning about on the edge of the box, basically.
Against a Valerian Ishmael side today, that's going to be
It's going to be tough. I mean, Mowbray talked about it. They're going to kick the ball in our corner and force us to play out. And I was really glad to hear him say that that's what we're going to do too, because it's how you have to beat them. It's almost like watching rugby union. You've got to get the ball down in their corner, right near the corner flag, and force them to play out. There will be a lot of long ball. I saw West Brom fans saying, "Oh, we're not a long ball team," but you are really. And it's giving up possession to the opposition to force them to play through you. And Rovers have been doing it a bit. We didn't have to force it against Swansea because they were happy to do it. We had to force it against Millwall, and we did it pretty effectively. We definitely forced it against Forest. We made them play where they didn't want to play. They had a right back at left back. They had a youth right back. They were having to play the ball around, and we got a man sent off because of the way we made them play out from the back, and we scored goals because of the way we made them play out from the back. So, yeah, if we can play if we can play West Brom at their own game today, and run harder than them with your Gallaghers and your Dolans, then we've got a chance.
I think we've got the connection back, everyone, so apologies that we had that little wobble in the middle. Yeah, two things I've noticed. Dolan is one. We have to do a shout out for the work rate that he's putting in that false 9 position. We'll look out for it again today. He just does not stop running and literally runs himself into the ground.
Yeah.
And it's probably not what he's used to through his career. He's probably more used to being out wide and taking people on. He's obviously more central now and closing people down. So I'm pleased that he picked out Dolan. The other thing I've noticed, the subs are all making an impact. Dan Butterworth has come on and looked great. Yeah. Harry Chapman came on Wednesday and looked great. Subs are coming on.
Harry Chapman.
They're making impact. So that is really good to see. We've pointed out that we've got a young bench, but it seems like we've got a hungry bench. They're wanting to come on and make an impression.
Game today, obviously. Team news will be coming soon. I haven't got a little sting for Joe's question of the week. It's just a quick one. Obviously, Nyambe not going to play again. We saw Hayden Carter at right back. He did okay. I was surprised Dan Pike didn't play. He scored a worldie last night, so shout out to Dan Pike. It was a great goal against City, which means he's probably not there today. Maybe Sereno will be on the bench, but he's not a right back. So it's probably going to be Carter again. We might go 5 at the back. It could be John Buckley in a right wing back position, but that's the bit that worries me today. Carter performed admirably, but it's not his position.
I was surprised not to see Dan Pike on Wednesday because I'm thinking this is a team that, at bottom of the table, they're not playing confidently. You pointed out the left back playing at right back. So, the right back playing at left back. So if they're coming down that side, it's not going to be natural. Yeah. If ever you're going to play Dan Pike in a game, then it just felt like that game. So
and he showed Mowbray last night, didn't he?
Yeah.
Fine if you want me to go and play at City, but I'll strike one in from 35, 40 yards and show you what you're missing, which I was glad to see.
Yeah, but whilst we're talking about Carter, you're absolutely right. He did brilliantly. I don't think he had too much to do, particularly when they took Alex Mighton off. That obviously made his night a lot easier, and the Forest fans were not happy about that.
He struggled going forward positionally. Yeah. It's hard, isn't it? He's a centre-back practically playing in a right wing position when we're in possession. He doesn't know where to be, and that's fine. But this cannot be the plan B for when Nyambe is not fit. No,
definitely not. And I think you're right. I could see us matching up with wing-backs today because that's what West Brom are going to play. They're going to have Furlong and Townsend as their 2 wing-backs, and I can see us really trying to cut that out, and particularly if it's Furlong down Picker inside.
We could see Chapman back at right wing back in a 5. He did it against Millwall. He came on at Forest and looked good. He's certainly earned himself a start.
Yeah, sorry, I was just looking at the comments there. Yeah, that is a good one as well because I think Buckley at a right wing back. Buckley's been brilliant in the centre of the park.
You lose what he's got, and he's a presser. How many times have Rothwell, Buckley, and Dolan won the ball back high? You don't want Buckley wasted at right back.
Buckley was phenomenal in the Swansea game. Pressing, he really gave Grimes a tough time.
Whilst we're talking right backs, though, I have to give Dan an absolute. Dan has pulled an absolute blinder of a chant out, and we need people singing this. I'm going to sing it. So it's to the tune of Don't You by Pussycat Dolls. And
which Ollie Walker peeled.
Yeah. So Ollie, you need to get that on Spotify. Dan thought of this one and it's an absolute cracker. And it goes, don't you wish your right back was Nyambe? Don't you wish your right back was JRC? Don't you? Love it, Dan. So please, let's get that one going around the Rovers away end.
Nobody's cheer turned around there.
No buzzer for me. But great shout. And hats off to Hayden Carter at right back and for his new contract as well.
Oh, yeah, of course. We've got to touch on that.
Yeah.
We knew there was some kind of announcement. Everybody thought it was going to be a transfer. It turned out to be that. But equally as good news, you need these players tied down. For me, he is the next Lenihan for us. He's going to be here for a while. He could be a future club captain. Much like Lenihan, played in midfield for the youth team, come back a bit. Absolutely great. Great to see him tied down. Let's hope a few more of them get done as well. But that's great business.
Yeah, really
see
good.
him tied down, steady on.
Yeah, he's doing sausage of the week with us.
I love it. So let's just talk about West Brom a little bit and what to expect from them. Now, I did On the Other Side with Louis last night, and in my research for that, I was absolutely gobsmacked to see that they've had the least possession in all 3 of their games this season. They sit top of the league. Yeah. They had 35% possession against Sheffield United, and they beat them 4-0. So really, what we're expecting is more of the same. It's more of that stuff that we saw with Barnsley, isn't it? It's get the ball forward quick, press us really high, get those wing backs forward, and physicality. That's what we're going to see from West Brom today, isn't it?
I mean, against Leeds in pre-season, we played a back 5, and the defensive line was so high. We were up on the halfway line, and that is how we've got to play. We have got to balls out. Okay, we're staying high. If you're going to kick it long, Kaminsky's well out of his box. He's going to come and sweep it up. If we drop and we drop and we drop and we drop, they're going to score goals because they'll boot that ball long and we're going to be forced to play in our own half. We need to get nice and high, get the first goal, force them to start passing the ball around, and we could easily come away with some points today. But it's going to be a bit grim, and it's going to be tactically probably not that entertaining.
You said hot potato there, didn't you? So we're going to be happy to concede possession to each other.
Yeah, it's going to be like you have the ball, no, you have the ball, no, you have the ball. It's going to be one of them, I think.
And someone on the other side last night, I think it was Naive Steve, said it. If the weather does get worse, could you see that affecting the game? If it is going long, if it is blowy, if it is windy,
Well, exactly. I think it's probably going to be a game that's won on set pieces. I mean, they've got a long throw. And they scored from a long throw in their last game. We'll see that. They'll bring a towel with them if it's raining, and they will pump them into the box. So just like Millwall, we have got to put bodies on the line, which again is why I wouldn't be surprised to see a back 5, just to get a bit more height in our box for defending those set pieces.
It's interesting because we're describing quite a scruffy game, but we're playing the quality side in this division. So it's going to be an interesting game. And
Any team that beats Sheffield United 4-0, you've got to be afraid of.
Yeah, and like we said before, the fact that we've got 7 points from 9 puts us in a position now going into a fixture that could have been, like you say, a massive fixture. You've got Preston today without a win, going into a fixture with, planned protests after the game, etc. We've not got any of that. We've got a lot of freedom to play today, and these young lads, like we've heard in the comments, I think it were Gaz Israel put in the comments about the bloody young lads and playing with all this energy, they can do today. Go and enjoy it.
What we got from Gaz here, with so many young lads in the team, they seem to be fearless and thrive off the energy of the crowd. Definitely, Gaz, you could see that certainly on Wednesday. I think the first game of the season against Swansea when we were there, it's obviously first game, it's kind of a bit different. What I did notice on Wednesday with Forest, they absolutely loved celebrating in front of the Rovers fans. They loved it. Both goals, they were in our corner. After the game, they came over and applauded us. You're absolutely spot on with that, Gaz. They are definitely feeding off the fans at the moment. And comment from Gareth Moore's just in agreement with you, Joe, that attacking set pieces could be key for us today, definitely. So there we go. So one person I want to talk about then, if we just flip back onto the Rovers, obviously it's 3 games in a week for us now. We might see some changes today just to freshen it up. Leighton Clarkson, is that someone that we're going to see today, do you think? Or?
Potentially, and if he doesn't start, he'll probably come on. I expect Buckley and Clarkson to rotate throughout the season. They're very similar footballers. They both want the ball. They're both straight long. Both would probably be accused by some of being lightweight. Which I don't really think is as big a deal as he's made out to be. But they're very similar in their building and their play style. And if we're going to ask Buckley to run that hard every week and win the ball back so high, he's going to run out of puff eventually. So I can see them rotating around, especially when there's so many games in a few weeks. Probably going to start on the bench, Clarkson, because he's only just arrived. He didn't even manage to get on at Forest. But we should see him, shouldn't we?
Been busy on that form anyway on Amazon Prime.
I think you're right. Mowbray's never one to throw someone in, is he?
No.
Particularly against like top of the table. He likes them to kind of build up.
Watch him start Sereno and Easton.
I know.
He never throws them in.
Let's just make a comment on Clarkson. Don't you just love it when I know we spoke about loan players and you can say that loan players don't always get. We got lucky last year with Elliott, fantastic, and he's playing today against Burnley. Go and do what you need to do. But you don't always get that from a loan player. Sometimes they'll want to come and prove a point, but sometimes it's just a case of play a trade here for a season and see what happens at the end of the season. This boy is Rovers through and through.
Yeah.
He's grown up over Clitheroe way. He's a local lad. All his family are Black.
Yeah, they're all here today as well. He said, didn't they?
I tell you what, if we've got potentially, who knows what will happen in the future, but got potentially a David Dunn right there that's just going to be passionate. He's going to play for the shirt. He's going to run himself into the ground, and he's going to want people chanting his name. And it's a boy of dream, the boy. So fair play, because watching them little clips that he had, the interviews when he signed, refreshing to see that.
Do you know what I really liked about his interview? And it was the way that he was talking. It was like the only move he would do was Rovers, because he supports Rovers. He had every confidence in his own ability to stay at Liverpool and break into that side.
And he has done. He's had moments.
I really like that. It wasn't, I'm just going to go out on loan to anyone. It was the only move I'm doing away from this club, Liverpool, is to the club I support. And I just really like that in the interview. He clearly backs his own ability. Clearly thinks he's a good player, so I like that.
I can picture that conversation. I can picture Jurgen with the clubs that were interested, sat on a piece of paper thinking, God, I hope he chooses Blackburn because we've done so well with Elliott. And he comes and he says, I only want to go to Blackburn. I can imagine Jurgen going, well, all right then. and actually secretly being really happy with that decision.
Yeah,
so
while he's playing on the Elliott.
Well, exactly. And we keep improving these young players and Pep and Jurgen, they're only going to keep sending them. Adarabayo, now probably the best defender in the Championship, especially now that Gay's gone.
Fans will say Dicky.
Well, exactly, but and Harwood Bellis has gone off to Anderlecht. It wouldn't shock me if we get at least one more player from City this window. You've got Sandler, Palmer, Delap, Doyle, Rodgers. I can't see us getting Rodgers, unfortunately, but we'll get one of them, and they'll do all right, and we'll get another next year. And those relationships are just class, and I think
really good.
The Clarkson aspect of it all and being a fan is really cool. But the bit that is really impressive for us is that Liverpool and City are going to keep sending their young players here.
The other thing about Clarkson is with the way that he plays, like a deep lying midfielder that wants the ball, wants to pass it around and all of that. Could he be a really important player to maybe release Lewis Travis a little bit to get forward and be more of a goal threat? That's something that's intriguing for me. Might be a really good partner for him.
Been crying out for that for a long time. A lot of people have had confidence in Lewis Travis's ability going forward, but without relying on him in a defensive role because he's that good at this level that he's not been able to do that. So if he can unlock Travis, he's got a sweet strike on him, hasn't he? So if he can get in them positions a little bit more, we'll see goals.
Definitely. So in terms of the team news, then we're about 13 minutes away. What are you two think?
Very accurate. We're about 13 minutes. We're 13 minutes.
We're 13 minutes away. So with the fact that we have had 2 games so far this week, this is the 3rd in 7 days. Would you be freshening it up today? Would you be bringing anyone in? Or are you going for that same 11 that started against Forest? With the fact that obviously we know that Ryan Nyambe is injured.
I think the issue is today's game in particular, because of the opposition, is all about the press. It's whose press is most effective. So you've almost got to take fatigue out of it because we need our best pressers. And yes, they're tired, but he doesn't drop Rothwell.
No,
you can't. He doesn't drop Buckley because he's too good at pressing that ball. I can't see him dropping Dolan either. Potentially a Chapman comes in. Potentially a Butterworth comes in. I can't see Clarkson starting. I can't see him splitting up that defensive partnership. Pike's obviously not going to play. I think it'll be unchanged.
What about you?
I think if there's any change, then perhaps Clarkson. I can't see it, but the way that Liverpool fans describe Clarkson, he's someone that is quite happy to get in into a tackle, and like you say, maybe similar to John Buckley. So if he wants to give Buckley a rest, maybe there's that option. I think we're all crying out for Ayala to rest, but you just can't do it. If Ayala stands up and says, "Look, boss, I'm fit, I can play. I've got full confidence in my body today," then you've just got to say, "Go ahead. We don't want to be changing partnerships if we don't need to."
And you don't want to change
No,
a team that's doing well. Ayala's done an interview in the week, which I found really interesting. You know, he's played at however many clubs over however many years, and he says, "This is the most together I've ever been in a group."
Yeah,
you don't split that, do you? You don't suddenly drop one. You don't tell Sam Gallagher, "Look, we're bringing McBride in because you're not scoring."
Yeah.
You know, you keep them high and you play them. I would be shocked to see more than one change. I would be shocked to see any, to be honest, but more than one, I would be surprised.
We've got a squad abreast there, haven't we? They're all
A what?
you know, abreast.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They're all nice and level.
I'm just looking at Chris's comment here. So I was thinking maybe something similar, Chris, but in terms of the personnel, but in terms of the position. So Chris has said Clarkson for Dolan with Buckley at right wing back. I was actually thinking he might do it differently. If he does keep the formation the same, we've seen him do Bradley Dack as a false 9. Could he do Buckley as a false 9 with Clarkson in that
as the press?
Potentially, it's potential. I don't think he'll drop. I don't. He might. We're guessing, aren't we? But
we are guessing.
Yeah.
I think it's done Mowbray the world of good having a smaller squad and not being able to pick from 5 subs during a game.
Yeah, I think he has to send 3 on, doesn't he? And
yeah, most definitely. But it's definitely done the world of good, I think. And I think, like you say, consistency. You only need to learn. I don't like speaking about Burnley in any positive sense, and obviously they're getting beat today. They got beat last week. That's fantastic. I like that. But they've got a squad today of 1 to 11 in terms of the squad numbers. And you look at their squad in previous seasons and the consistency that's then kept them in the Premier League and got them some decent results. And consistency gets the not the greatest sides in the world points in divisions, and that's just football.
I'm going to have to commit the biggest faux pas in Silver Chat history so far and go to the toilet.
You do that,
He's
no
not.
way.
So
He's not.
I'm going to leave you for like 2 or 3 minutes.
We know what you're doing.
So
You did hear right. Joe is leaving.
So I'll be back before the team news.
There's more sausage chat here on the chat.
Yeah, Hayden Carter's in the main building.
Wow.
So yeah, I'll be back before the team news.
Get it in the
I'm gonna
toilet.
leave you to it. We might have a sting for it.
We could get Dan to take your place on the
Yeah,
sofa.
I reckon
They're
that's a
calling
great
for you,
idea.
Dan. Callum is calling for you.
Oh, should we
dear.
spread out?
Yeah,
we'll see a piece.
We're going to spread out. Here we go. I was drawn to something in the comments.
Bye, Joe.
See you later.
Joe's.
Bye, driver.
Dan, are you going to wave or are you joining us on the sofa?
Not a chance.
He's up. Are you going to wave though? Get your hand on the camera. Let's see. He is there you go.
Out Dan's hand.
Oh, love it. And was it Graham or Gordon? I didn't quite catch the name in the comments. Who was asking when people can come to the Garden Bar. Rovers fans have an all-round invite to the Garden Bar. So there we go.
Lisa's not keen on that.
No.
Bolton's top striker, Johan Elmander's with us and wonders where Bradley Dack is. So he's actually injured. He did a anterior cruciate ligament injury again, unfortunately. The other knee. So he's out for a little while and hopefully we'll see him this year. But who knows?
So I just want to 2 comments have struck me with this. So we'll start with Alexander Havens. Carter could be targeted at right back. So if we do play the 4 at the back and they've got Townsend in particular down that left-hand side, that could be a weakness for us today. Because I do think that when Alex Mighton on Wednesday night was going at Hayden Carter, he obviously looked dangerous. So he could be targeted, couldn't he, Carter?
Yeah, he's young, he's inexperienced at this level. Any manager would be foolish not to say, let's target Hayden Carter, especially when you've got that ability on the left-hand side there. So it's a difficult one. What do you do? At the end of the day, he's just got to suck it and see. And if that's what happens, Hayden Carter's just going to have the game of his life. And if not, it gives Mowbray something to think about during the game, I think.
This is why I think he'll match up and do wing backs. I think he'll be nervous about the left wing back. Townsend getting forward.
You've got to give Mowbray some credit. He does look at the opposition quite often. and match up where he can. And we've got Joe back with us, and he's got trousers on, which is great.
And then the other one I was drawn to, Michael Pearson. What do we think of the single match day price? 32 quid adults, 26 for pensioners. Outrageous, in my opinion. Now, I don't want to focus on negative things, but we've got a little bit of time to talk about this just before the team news lands. We've just come out of a pandemic. Blackburn isn't, the most economically prosperous area, if we're being truthful. We're trying to get fans back. We're trying to entice a new generation, etc., etc., etc. This ticketing model, this isn't good. The weather in August isn't great at the moment. And it's just, for me, I think it's an outrage. And I think we could have been a lot cleverer with the ticket pricing. We could do little deals, just something that doesn't just smack of, we're charging £32 because we know 2,600 West Brom fans are coming.
Well,
that's what it is, isn't it?
I mean, they're selling them at that price to make people buy season tickets.
Yeah.
And I get that. But the reason that we're at that stage is because the season ticket sales aren't high enough in the first place. And then you say, okay, why are the season ticket sales not high enough? And you've got to question the marketing. They've gone with this back to live thing, which is a slogan that, okay, works, but okay, let's start using the song. Let's pay for the copyright on that song. Let's get some videos going. The only stuff we've had is short clips of a player going, hello, Rovers fans, please buy your season ticket at we need more. There's not big spreads on the buses around Blackburn. There's not. The campaign for me for season tickets wasn't good enough, which then leads to a lack of sales, which then leads to those higher match day prices. I've just paid 30 quid for my ticket at Middlesbrough. So it's not like we're on our own. We're not the only club charging those kinds of prices. It is wrong. They've obviously analysed it and decided that's what they need to do to make the most amount of money. People say, oh, if you charged a tenner, there'd be loads of people there. But, how much was it at Morecambe? And there was about 4,000 fans there. So I don't think that the price being lower would actually bring in many more fans. I think we're already down to the bare bones. So I get it and I don't get it. I think there should be a little bit more leeway with it. But for me, the issue is the marketing in the first place.
I think you've got a lot of Rovers fans that will just make excuses, and I'm not going to jump on Rovers fans in general here. We've all been guilty of it in the past of, I don't want to go to football, so, I'll make an easy excuse about I'm not going back while the Venkies are here, or, I don't want to watch Rovers not in the Premier League. Sales drop when we drop out of the Premier League, when we drop out of the Championship. That's just...
How much were tickets when Liverpool came to town for the FA Cup? How much were tickets against Oxford when there was 27,000 fans in the stadium? They weren't a tenner.
No, exactly. And
it's not the price.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, the pandemic, you've mentioned it, we're off the back of a pandemic. And I don't think it's the finances driven from the pandemic that sort of changed this in terms of the population that we're getting on the ground. But I think it's more... life's changed. Routines. People are doing something different on a Saturday now as well. So it's like you say, there's got to be a marketing push now to change the way people are thinking at weekends.
Yeah,
it's definitely the marketing. We've got to inspire people, and then once people are back in, they'll get hooked. I bloody loved Wednesday night, that Forest game. It just made absolutely amazing. We need people back in to feel that, to go, I'm going to do it every week.
That feeling after Swansea as well.
Swansea as well.
Opening day of the season, and it was great.
Yeah, I think little things would go a long way. I don't know how much those little things would affect actual sales, but he would need to clean, around the back of the stands, and it needs jet washing, and we need some rubbish.
There's not that same feel-good factor around the town.
Things just feel very.
And this is the thing about Mowbray. It goes with the manager as well. So there is some kind of cloud over the club at the moment. You can't quite put your finger on it, but there's just something envelope in the club at the moment.
It's just all these little small things. It's like, the electronic advertising boards, they're glitching out now. They're not working properly. And it doesn't, nobody's not buying a ticket because of those things. No. But you add them all together and it does affect your experience. So I understand where a lot of people are coming from. I'll go to Rovers if they charge me 500 quid for my season ticket, or if they charge me 100 quid. And there's about 6,000 or 7,000 people who feel the same way. Yes, there is a group of people where the price is going to affect whether they go or not. But it's not such a big group, in my opinion, that we need to start radically changing the pricing structure. We need to change our marketing. Look at Accrington Stanley. They send out free shirts to the kids, and it's clever.
Something like you know, another well-run club, Leicester. Leicester do the same. They're fantastic at it. And you can go to Stanley and you're paying, you know, pretty chunky prices for League One. You look at any club around, you're paying out those sort of prices. If you go to the cinema, what's that nowadays?
Yeah.
Like, it's so relative, and just because we're a football club, we can't turn around and say, you know, we're going to drop the prices by ridiculous amounts just to get more bodies in, etc. All right, yeah, that might make sense, but if that then doesn't turn to heads on funds on seats, then we've made a massive error, and you know, then you've got a business essentially is what it is, running at a loss.
The under-23s game on Monday was free. Anybody could walk in. And there was still only 900 of us there, and that was including Everton fans. So I get it, and I understand the price thing, and there will be people that are being priced out of going, and that is wrong. And we should look to do something.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
We can't. The idea that if you charge half of what you're charging, double the amount of people come, I don't think is real. I don't think that's true.
So the team news is about to drop. So Rovers fans, let us know your score predictions in the comments. We will get a ticker going of the Rovers team news in a moment. We can just read it out now.
One change.
We have got one change. Yes, Leighton Clarkson does start. Tyree Stolen is the one that has made way on the bench.
Chris Hayes.
Chris Hayes, yeah, good shout, Chris. You did call that one. So it's Kaminsky, Carter, Lenihan, Ayala, Pickering, Clarkson, Travis, Rothwell, Buckley, Gallagher, Brereton, Diaz. So it's
Buckley a false nine.
Buckley. It will either be Buckley a false nine or Buckley at right wing back. I'll be very interested.
It could be 5-3-2 maybe.
I wonder if we've just got some fluidity in the system today as to maybe he starts the game in a certain way and then sees how we react then to West Brom, and if it needs to change, we've got the personnel to do it without making a change.
So we're going to get this wrapped up really quickly so that everyone can get to the game. We're scrolling the
including
team on
us.
including mine, yeah. So please, everyone, get your score predictions in and we'll run through those really quick. Joe, start with you. What's your prediction now you've seen the side?
Unfortunately, for the first time in the season, I'm going to predict a loss. West Brom are very good. I don't think... I'm going to give us one goal. I think we might get another set piece, maybe a penalty, maybe a corner, maybe a free kick. I can see them getting at least two. I'll go 2-1, thinking maybe even 3-1 to West Brom.
I'm on your wavelength as well. I'm going 2-1 West Brom. I think the grit and determination that we've shown is brilliant, but I don't think it's going to be enough today. I think the quality that West Brom have got, you know, the way that Ishmael gets his championship team playing, I think they're going to have too much for us. And again, I don't like predicting us to lose, but I'm not going to be like Mark Lawrenson, who never predicted Liverpool to lose in 4 years. Don't know if you ever saw that, but... yeah, I'm going to say 2-1 West Brom as well. But I've deliberately come to you last because you're going to leave us with a positive on the end of the show. What's your prediction?
6-0 West Brom. I think we'll nick it today. I really do. I think we're riding a wave. We're going to be playing these boys with no fear. The pressure's on West Brom. They've got to deliver. They're expected to win this division. I think it's a tougher game for them than it is for us. Clarkson will bring some energy. He'll bring some enthusiasm. He'll bring some love for the shirt. I think that'll transition through the team. And
can I just say, there's a strong. We're talking about who, you know, Buckley might go right wing back. It's probably going to be 4, isn't it? Carter at right back again.
Yeah.
It'll probably be like I said, Buckley as a false nine, but Dan has got my prediction in the chat of 1-0. Rovers. I'm going to stick with 1-0 Rovers, but I'm going to change for Rothwell. I think he'll get the goal today. Hopefully, he'll get a bit of freedom in midfield, and we'll see him running from deep like he did very well last season. So, for me, I think we'll nick it 1-0. If we can keep it tight at the back, we've had some consistency. All right, we've leaked goals in each game. If we don't concede today, we can nick this one.
So looking at the comments, we've got a real mixed bag, actually. We've got some predicting a loss, we've got some predicting a win, and we've got some predicting draws. So I think the fan base is really divided on this one. I think we are expecting a close game. A lot of people going for, 2-1s, 1-1s, 0-0s, things like that.
B seems like a top bloke. He's a Burnley fan, and they're pretty bad too at the moment.
So there we go. We're going to get all of this stream wrapped up now so that we can all make our way to the game, or people can get themselves set up for the stream and whatever you're doing. But Luke, Joe, thanks for joining us on the show again. It's been good. I love the sofa chat.
Get your cake,
I
lad.
need to get this cake finished before we get to Ewood. Dan, thanks for doing all the background stuff. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on the comments and for all of your interactions today.
Come on, Leighton Clarkson.
Yeah, Leighton Clarkson. So we'll leave you with our sponsor messages from 6 Yards Out and Blue Rose Capital. Enjoy the game. Go and join Ollie Walker Peel at 2:30, and we'll be back with the instant reaction straight after the game. Enjoy it. See you later. I am beat. Don't you wish your right back was
JRC.
Don't you?
The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.